Hi folks, and welcome back to another fly tying demonstration. What you see in the vise is a very simple booby fly. So without further ado, let's get into it. The hook in the vise then is a Hanak H970 barbless hook. This is at size 10. It's finished in black nickel and it's on a heavy wire. The thread I'm going to be using today is from Simplify. It's the Nano Silk. It's at 50D or 12/0 if you prefer. You can get away with using 1000D or 6/0. But this is what I've got spooled up, and I am in a little bit of a hurry today. So first thing, as usual with the Nano Silks, we're going to get a tiny little bit of super glue onto the shank of the hook, and this just helps the Nano Silk adhere to the slick black nickel finish. So I'm going to catch in behind the eye. Now that I've spread the super glue, I don't need to be overly worried about touching turns or anything like that. So I'm going to bring it up to just past the point of the hook I want it, like so. Then I can come in with my scissors and take away my rat's tail. Now, as I said at the start, I'm off to Farmore tomorrow actually for a bit of fishing, and I expect the fish to be rather deep, and what I want to do is fish a couple of boobies on a really fast sinking line. Now, I think we're all a little guilty of overcomplicating fly patterns, and that's why I always harp on about fly tying being a different hobby to fly fishing. You can tie very simple flies, which doesn't require a great deal of skill, which will still catch you plenty of fish. So what I'm going to use for my first ingredient of this 3-ingredient fly is a black zonker strip. This one's from Trout line. As you can see, I no longer have the packet, and this is my last piece of it. So what better way than to use it to tie a fly I'm going to use tomorrow. So what I'm doing is just trying to find a gap. So you see I've split the hairs, and I'm right down to the core now. And I'm going to catch that in at the end. Now it can be a little fiddly, this part. I want to get 2 or 3 turns onto that core. Then the next thing I'm going to do is lift up the tail like so, get a couple of turns in behind the tail. Now I've not got much, because what I find if you're using zonkers or big flies like this, the longer the tail, the more you tend to end up with tail nips. So I keep it nice and short. Next thing I'm going to do is bring it back, and I'm going to get several turns in front of the material like so. And that's all in place. I'll just use the handle on my vise to tuck that back. So I've got this area here, and what I'm going to fill that with is some black frits, which I have here. Now this is from F&F. Again, sorry I don't have the packet to show you, but it's like a 7mm black frits. And what I want to do is just trim away some of the frits so I expose the core. Now once the core is exposed like that, I can come in and catch that in at the base where I've bent my strip back. A few turns just to tidy it up, and I'm going to come all the way down till I'm approximately 5mm from the eye of the hook. I want to leave plenty of space to bring the zonker strip over the top of the frits, and enough space to tie in my booby eyes. So what I'd usually do with frits actually, and I haven't done on this occasion, is I would damp it down. If I'm tying a lot, I would damp down and just under the tap, so that it's just more malleable and easier to work with. But I'm just going to keep it dry. I'll just lick my thumb and forefinger, give it a little bit of dampness. And what I want to do is I'm treating it like I would a palm or feather. I'm just slicking it back after every turn. I want to get a nice dense body in here. So all the way back, just slicking it back every turn. And I want that bulk, because when I pull this through the water, I want to get a lot of movement, and I also want to get a lot of water disturbance. Now the booby eyes are going to help me there, but having a big thick bulky body also does a job. So it takes a little while, but the effect's worth it. And you use a little bit more material than you would normally. Again, I'm just dampening down my thumb and forefinger, bringing that back, slicking it all back, and it just makes the job a little easier when you're bringing that wing over the top here. So I'll get one more turn, I think, and then I'm going to bring my thread, work my way through to the core. Once I've got a couple of turns in there, I can pull all that back and get several turns in front. Now, it can be a little difficult coming in with your scissors, like so. So I've recently got this tool, and it comes with a little blade and a dubbing needle. I've found it quite useful for tying flies like this. So just lift up the fritz and push that into place. Again, I'm going to let my thumb and forefinger get everything slicked back out the way. The next job then is to bring over our top wing, and I just want to try and encourage the fritz fibres to go down either side, so I'm not trapping lots of them under there. And bring it over the top of the eye. Now, what I want to do is, again, I want to separate the fur so I can see the core. And once I've got the core in sight, which I have now, I can hold that into place and just bring that over the top. 2 or 3 turns should do it. One for luck. And then the next thing is I'm going to bring that back now, and again I'm going to come in front. Now the reason you'll see me do this a lot if you follow the videos, and what it is if you get a few wraps in front of a material, there's no chance of the thread backing up and coming loose. Again, I'm going to come in with my little blade here and take that end away. Now I'll just slick it all back, and what I want to do next is just tidy up the front area here, like so. And I'm pretty pleased with that. Now, although it's a bulky fly, it's still small enough where the trout can come and get the whole thing in its mouth. A lot of the super big lures, they struggle a little bit and don't quite take the fly correctly, but this, they eat all the time. Now, the next thing, and the third and final ingredient for this fly, is the booby eyes. Now, if you're not sure how I get my booby eyes to this stage, or how I do my booby eyes actually, I'm going to put a little link up in the corner here, which will show you how I create these little tic tacs, which I use for booby eyes. There's lots of different ways of doing it, but that's the way I do it. Now, I'm going to get my thread, I'm going to line it up with the little hole I have in my tic tac. I'm going to bring it round, just see what that looks like. It looks good. 2 or 3 more turns. Now with this, so I've now got my tic tac on my thread. I'm using nano silk. It takes a bit of practice to get the right tension. If you're too heavy handed with this, what you'll find you'll do is you'll cut right through these booby eyes. So I'll wind it on, and then once I've got it into place, I get several turns one way, and then I come across, excuse my fingers, several turns the other way, and trap that into place. Now I'm going to just get several turns in front, come in with a whip finish tool, and the job's a good one. I can come with my blade, take that away. Now, I'm not finished. So at the moment, these booby eyes are a little wobbly. And after this fly's been hit by several fish, I hope tomorrow, these will start to dislodge. So a good way of finishing this fly is getting your super glue and getting some of the solution in between the eyes. So I'm just going to use my fingers, pull them apart, get a little bit of super glue in between the eyes. That will sink in down the thread, and then I'm going to get some super glue just in under the wraps, and I'll just turn the vise so you can see where I've put the super glue. I've got that just in behind the eye and over them thread wraps, and that'll go quite solid, and what we'll have is a very effective concrete bowls type fish catcher. And Farmer, although it's not the prettiest of fisheries, it's got plenty of fish in. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.